It began with something so small, so ordinary, that most of humanity didn't even notice it. At 02:17:04 a.m. UTC, Earth lost 1 second. Not the kind scientists add during leap years. Not a computational glitch. Not a satellite error. A real second. An actual moment of time. Simply missing. Global atomic clocks, the most precise instruments ever made, were the first to scream. Every atomic clock on Earth blinked the same anomaly. 02:17:04. 02:17:06. The second in between was gone, not delayed, erased. But the truth only became terrifying when people reported what they felt. A woman in Tokyo said she had been stirring tea, and suddenly the spoon was already in the cup, her hand mid-motion, with no memory of putting it there. A security guard in Dubai blinked, and was suddenly standing 3 steps further down the hallway, heart racing, unsure how he got there. A pilot above the Atlantic radioed something chilling. "I didn't black out. I didn't lose consciousness. The world lost time around me." For the first few hours, governments dismissed it. They blamed sensor failures, data latency, and public misunderstanding. Then the second anomaly struck. This time, Earth lost 2 seconds. Hospitals malfunctioned. Digital systems crashed. GPS alignment went haywire. And for the first time in history, the Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, skipped a full oscillation. Something was wrong with time itself. And then came the broadcast. A signal intercepted by satellite arrays across 17 countries. Not alien, not cosmic, not from another dimension, but mathematically encoded in a future version of Earth's own frequency signature. As if our planet was sending a message to its younger self. The decrypted audio was only 3 words long. We ran out. Governments panicked. Scientists demanded to know. Ran out of what? Time, energy, reality. But before they could decode more, time fractured again. Entire cities reported micro-blackouts of consciousness lasting fractions of a second, as if reality blinked. Clocks jumped ahead by minutes. Tides surged without gravitational cause. And then the worst discovery of all, Earth was accelerating. Not physically, not through space, but through time. Something was pushing the planet forward along its timeline, compressing its future, and if that force didn't stop, humanity would reach its final moment 24 hours from now. Not because Earth was ending, but because time itself was running out. The countdown had begun.
The sun's 0.1-second blink should have been forgotten by morning, but when the world woke up on the next day, nothing behaved the way it was supposed to, not the air, not the water, not the planet. It began with something small. At 6:14 a.m. in Nairobi, a man boiled water for tea, except the water never reached boiling. The temperature hit exactly 89 degrees and refused to go any higher. He tried again, new pot, new kettle, new stove. Each time 89 degrees, a perfect ceiling. Across the world, similar reports appeared. Rice wouldn't cook. Engines overheated at lower temperatures. Volcano vents emitted cooler than normal steam. It was as if heat itself had been capped. By noon, meteorologists noticed the atmosphere was behaving strangely, not hotter or colder, but less energetic. Wind speeds dropped globally all at once, not to 0, but to a mathematically precise pattern. Every wind reading on Earth became exactly 37% slower than the day before. Different countries, different climates. Same percentage, nature doesn't do that. That's when physicists realized the terrifying implication. If the sun blinked, maybe Earth's laws briefly recalibrated. Then came the oceans. At 3:02 p.m. UTC, deep-sea sensors detected gravity fluctuations under the Indian Ocean Trench, just small enough for humans not to feel, but big enough to confuse satellites. Ships drifted off GPS-aligned paths by identical arcs, as if Earth's gravitational pull had shifted direction by microscopic degrees. Still, governments stayed quiet. They needed more data. Then they got it. At 4:19 p.m. in Tokyo, thousands of people witnessed something that should have been impossible. A shadow passed across the city, not from a cloud, plane, or bird, but from nothing. A perfectly straight shadow, rectangular, motionless, hanging in the sky like a black window into another dimension. Seconds later, similar shadows appeared in Dubai, Toronto, Seoul, and Lagos. They were aligned perfectly, each one pointing to the same spot in the sky, the exact direction of the sun. The world finally understood. The sun did not blink because of a malfunction. It blinked because something made it blink. Night fell. People expected silence. Instead, the atmosphere began to hum. It wasn't thunder, it wasn't machinery. It wasn't wind, it was a frequency. A single tone vibrating through glass, metal, and bone. A tone repeating every 0.1 seconds, the same duration as the blink. Earth wasn't being attacked, it wasn't being destroyed. It was being prepared. The 0.1 second blink was not an anomaly. It was a countdown. And the next phase had already begun. The 0.1 second solar blink was supposed to be a one-time anomaly. But at 02:14 UTC, something even stranger happened. The Earth responded, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. Global seismic graphs, across Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, began drawing a perfectly identical waveform at exactly the same moment. Not caused by an earthquake, not by volcanic activity, but by something scientists had never seen before. A harmonic vibration coming from inside Earth. It repeated every 11 minutes, subtle yet mathematically flawless, as if the planet had become part of a signal chain. For the first time in human history, Earth was resonating. Governments announced nothing, but leaked documents later confirmed the horrifying truth. The vibration carried encoded patterns, identical in structure to the solar blink. The sun blinked, Earth answered, almost like they were communicating. But between who or what? The unseen geometry aircraft radar operators across 4 continents reported a new phenomenon. Large objects, massive, invisible, yet detectable, hovering high above the stratosphere. Not metallic, not biological, not spacecraft. More like voids, perfectly shaped geometric absences, each emitting the same frequency as Earth's new vibration. Triangles over the Pacific, circular voids over the Sahara, a spiraling formation above Antarctica. They weren't attacking, they weren't descending. They were waiting, as if they needed Earth to complete some kind of alignment. At the same time, every ocean buoy on the planet recorded a synchronized breathing pattern. Slow rises and falls of the sea level, not tied to tides, moon phases, or atmospheric pressure. Earth's oceans were pulsing. Satellite imagery confirmed it. The oceans were subtly shifting shape as though responding to an external instruction. Something was overriding the natural rhythm of the planet, the human reaction. When the next solar blink occurred, again only 0.1 seconds, every electronic device on Earth experienced a simultaneous micro-freeze. Cameras, phones, computers. Even digital clocks not breaking, just pausing, as if time inside the devices stopped for a fraction of a heartbeat. People across the world reported the same eerie sensation, a sudden deep silence like the entire planet inhaled at once. Then came the phenomenon that terrified even the skeptics. Every person standing outdoors during that blink reported that the shadows on the ground shifted slightly, but not in the direction of the sun. Almost as if a different light source, invisible and distant, had cast a competing shadow for just a fraction of a second. Something else in the sky had blinked with the sun, something we couldn't see. And now, all signs pointed to one chilling possibility. Earth was not being observed. Earth was being prepared. Prepared for what? No one could agree. But the frequency was rising, the voids were descending, and humanity was running out of time. The world didn't have time to recover from the first blink. While governments scrambled and scientists tore apart the data for answers, the sun did it again. At 3:11:04 UTC, exactly 11 hours after the first anomaly, every solar telescope, satellite, and observatory captured the same impossible event. The sun blinked twice, 2 rapid pulses, 0.1 seconds each, perfectly identical to the first blink. And this time, the Earth reacted, not physically but electromagnetically. Around the world, compasses spun violently. Birds flew in perfect circles, then dropped from exhaustion. Electrical grids flickered in patterned rhythms, as if responding to a silent command. The pattern was undeniable. The Earth was sinking to the blink. Signals began appearing in radio telescopes, not noise, not static, but structured data bursts aligned with the exact timestamps of the blinks. When analysts compressed the signal and increased the resolution, something chilling emerged. The burst contained a 3D lattice, a map but not of stars, not of galaxies, not anything the human mind could instantly recognize. It was a structure repeating in fractal precision, perfectly identical at micro and macro scales, the same way the blink was identical each time. Then came the breakthrough. A researcher from Japan overlaid the burst signal onto a magnetic simulation of the Earth's core. Everything aligned. The blinks were not happening out there. They were happening for here. The sun wasn't signaling the cosmos. It was signaling Earth's internal system, because beneath our feet something was changing. Seismic sensors across the globe detected a phenomenon never recorded before. Deep harmonic tremors. Resonant, musical vibrations coming from the mantle, synchronized to the sun's blinks. It was as if the Earth was humming back. For the first time in human history, we were witnessing a conversation between the Earth and its star. But the tremors weren't the only response. Gravitational wave detectors, LIGO, Virgo, Cagra, all registered the same anomaly. A faint rhythmic distortion in space-time itself. A ripple, a heartbeat, a reply. Scientists realized the horrifying implication. Earth wasn't just receiving a message. Earth was transmitting one, on its own, unprompted, almost instinctively. Thousands of years of human civilization, yet only now did something inside our planet wake up and blink back. But then something even stranger occurred. Every time the sun blinked, the moon shifted by a few millimeters. Not in orbit, but in orientation, as though something inside it was turning, reorienting, responding. The moon was joining the conversation too. And when researchers plotted the blink timings, the moon's rotations, and Earth's tremors, a countdown appeared. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. A literal countdown to what? No one knew. But the number at the bottom of the calculation chilled every scientist who saw it. 24 hours. One day until something irreversible. And there was nothing Earth could do to stop it. Only wait, only watch, only hope it wasn't already too late. For 12 minutes humanity waited. Not because they had a choice, but because everything, technology, language, even thought itself, felt balanced on the edge of an invisible threshold. The sun had blinked again. Another 0.1-second loss of light. This time the blackout didn't come with chaos or static. It came with clarity. Across cities, screens lit up simultaneously. Phones, TVs, smartwatches, billboards, each displaying the same symbol. A single ring of light, split by a vertical line. The same geometry ancient cultures drew across continents. No empire, no religion, no era invented it, yet everyone recognized it. The universal marker. Then the world changed again. The sky dimmed, but not like nightfall. The atmosphere itself turned into a shimmering, translucent veil, like Earth was inside a luminous cocoon. From horizon to horizon, a colossal wave of refracted light circled the planet at supersonic speed. Wherever the wave passed, it revealed something impossible. Millions of thin, invisible structures, threads, connecting every living organism. Trees to animals, humans, oceans, the air itself, all of it, woven together. A single living network. Scientists had guessed at it. Mystics had preached it. Civilizations had symbolized it. But no one had ever seen it until the sun blinked. And then the message finally arrived. Not spoken, not written, not broadcast, felt. A wave of information, pure structured meaning passed through every living mind simultaneously. Not words, but understanding, a memory that wasn't human but belonged to Earth itself. A record of every extinction, every collapse, every era of rebirth. Every time humanity came close to discovering the truth and then drifted away again. And within that memory, something else, a warning. Not from aliens, not from another dimension, not from the future, from the planet. Earth was signaling that a global synchronization threshold had been reached. Humanity's technology had grown powerful enough to influence the planet's biological and atmospheric systems directly. And the blink of the sun was Earth's way of forcing a reset before a catastrophic imbalance. The message ended with a final burst of imagery. A vision of two timelines. One fractured, one unified. One ending, one surviving, and then the light wave collapsed. The threads vanished. The sky returned to normal. The sun stabilized, calm, unwavering, impossibly bright. Across the world, people gasped, cried, knelt. stared at the sky like seeing it for the first time. Because humanity now understood, the sun didn't blink to warn us about space. It blinked to warn us about ourselves. Earth wasn't a place we lived in. Earth was a system we were part of. And for the first time in history, humanity finally heard it speak.